the power.
This is MMA Power Hour with Colin, Crandall, and myself. And as you heard Colin there, he has to change his glasses here real quick. But yeah, another awesome episode. This is actually season 9, guys. This is so amazing. You guys have been around, sticking around, and really catching up with every single episode. Thank you so much for that. Colin and I could not be more appreciative. It's so amazing to have such an exciting group of people to just be behind us.
Yeah, truly grateful. Truly grateful for all the support and all the people that help allow us to get MMA Power Hour out to you week in and week out.
Absolutely. I want to go ahead and say thank you to Nesa's Hemp. They are one of the most premium providers of CBD products out there, and actually their primary focus is on CBDA. They have a full spectrum hemp oil out there with CBDA in it, and they set themselves apart with that CBDA product being the highest quality on the market. Make sure to go on over to mmaph.nesashemp.com, get yourself a bottle, and you get a nice discount by going to that very specific address.
Absolutely. Never hurts to increase and improve the pH in your life, especially when it means power hour. So we're coming at you with a lot of great information and fun and entertainment, at least we hope.
Oh, well, yeah, we sure hope so, right?
We will try. We try our best, and once in a while we fail, but most of the time I think we succeed, or at least have a modicum of success in doing that. So we appreciate that you guys are all still here, and we're gonna make this a really good show for you.
Absolutely. Well, keep rolling with it, Colin, because I got to get some things fixed here that aren't working out.
Yeah, for sure. So I participated in the virtual media day for UFC 260. Got to have some good questions with Vicente Luque and with Tyron Woodley, and if there are a couple more, maybe a couple more in there, I forgot. The day's been kind of a blur, but they both have really good attitudes and focus. This is one of the very few 3-round fights that Tyron Woodley is contracted for in the past probably 6 or 7 years, and so he I think he didn't feel it was going to make much of a difference, but he did mention that, yeah, you know, you got to kind of put out there a little bit quicker, and as long as the fight goes on, if it's a 3-round fight, it can, it's over a lot of times before you know it. So he kind of mentioned that, and also very few Brazilians he's fought. This is only going to be the 4th Brazilian he will have fought in his pro career of like 30 fights almost, and I think that this will be the 3rd in the last 4 years. So the only Brazilian he fought in the early part of his career was Andre Galvao, who he beat, and then here it's Damian Maia, who he beat, and then a loss against Gilbert Burns, and so he is 2-1 against Brazilians in his career, and if he loses this, then he'll be 2-2. And a lot of people think that the result of this fight will really dictate whether there is a career going forward for Tyron T. Woodley, the chosen one. He is an amazing fighter, but if he loses here, this will be 4 losses.
We'll see if he got his heart back somehow. I think that's really what has happened. He's kind of lost his heart for the sport. He even said that in a couple interviews that he did for a little while, chasing money. And it's really interesting seeing somebody have such a long reign and come back and all of a sudden just have such a big losing streak. Yeah,
and he's a really good athlete. Now, he is 38 years old, and at 170 pounds, that's old. That's probably kind of old at 185, and a little bit old at light heavyweight, and somewhat old at heavyweight. Although the heavier you get, seemingly the longer shelf life you do have because of the power and the less required super quick, lightning fast reflexes. But it seems like at 36, things kind of started to go downhill. Now, the people he was facing were kind of like the new generation of him. Usman, Covington, were kind of like younger, better, Woodley 2.0. So there's excuses for that. He lost to Burns, and Burns is a great fighter, even though he couldn't beat Usman. But yeah, this is an interesting fight here. You know, we had Vicente on our show about 9-10 months ago, I think. Really, really nice guy. He is just right in his prime, 29 years old. He's fought super high level of competition. He's won 90% of his fights. He's got an amazing chin. His striking is great. He does have some ground, a little bit of wrestling, some jiu-jitsu. A super athletic guy, big guy for the weight division. He's going to have height and reach of a couple inches on Tyron Woodley, and 9 years younger. It's just, this would be a Herculean effort, I think, on the part of Tyron to win this fight. And, but we'll see what happens.
I think it would be a Herculean. Man, I've got to throw this out there. Vicente, I want to see him win, but I think Woodley is going to step up to the plate. But I said that this last fight with him, didn't I?
You mean picking
Woodley?
Yeah, and then he didn't even come close to winning.
Yeah, he just still showed up with no heart. I can't do it. Never mind. He's not going to be one of my dog picks. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Vicente is a talent on the rise.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with him. I can't do a dog pick on that one. I was thinking I might do that, but no. I think if there's going to be a dog pick on this card, actually, I'm just going to start off with one of them here at the beginning of the night. I'm going to go with Thomas Almeida over Sean O'Malley.
Ooh.
Yep.
That would be a huge, because Almeida's on a 3-fight skid and he's lost 4 out of his last 5 fights, but he does have some power. It's going to be interesting. I was listening to Sean. There were some technical difficulties on not being able to connect to the virtual media day. Otherwise, I would have had some good questions for Sean. But he's super confident. He doesn't feel that last fight against Chito Vera is a loss, even though he lost. I think he feels that if his legs were chopped down and he couldn't stand, that somehow, not trying to rip on him, but somehow that's not a loss. But anyway, a lot of people, I think, in the past have also felt if they were beat by wrestling the whole time and they took no damage, it's not a loss. So I understand where he's coming from in a way, but yeah, he's planning on just starching Almeida. Almeida had some good things to say as well, and Almeida's back is really to the wall, against the wall, about losing his job here. So he kind of has to win. So he sure has the motivation. So that's a good dog pick. That would be amazing, and it could happen. I think for me, and then we want to get to our next guest in 2 minutes, but for me, the dog pick that I would make here, and that fight's canceled, it's barely a dog, but I think I'm going to go for Stipe. Not with a lot of confidence, but I think that Stipe could have retained. He's a slight dog against Francis. Other than that, maybe Shane Young, although I can't say for sure. And but aside from that, I think mostly favorites are going to win on Saturday. We have Abubakar Nurmagomedov, who I think is Habib's cousin. I know one of the guys is his brother, which would have the same last name, so it could be his brother or his cousin.
Yeah, but Gooden is not going to beat him.
No, Gooden is not going to beat him, I don't think. And then Menefield has a last-second replacement, Fabio Cherant. That's a possible underdog. Cherant coming in literally on 3 days' notice. Menefield's back is against the wall.
On that one.
Menefield, though, has lost 2 fights in a row, so it's possible. Anyway, we should be ready for our first guest whenever you are, Dr. Adam Roorda. And we will start with
that Skype dance. Let me make sure I've got all the audio killed on this other stuff.
All right.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I know I already said that, but make sure to go on over to our social media. Give us likes, comments, shares. That's what keeps the show going. For those of you on Fight TV watching us, make sure to go on over to the Hannibal TV. Check us out over there on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, go on over to Fight TV. Now, this Fight TV is FITE.tv. They have some of the best wrestling and kickboxing and boxing and MMA events out there. All combat sports. They are legitimately one of the best platforms for pay-per-view events. And I couldn't speak highly enough of them or the Hannibal TV.
Absolutely. Great platforms and partners, and we really appreciate them.
Amazing partners.
Yeah. Let's rock and roll a Skype dance. I've got a little sore shoulders and neck, but I'll Skype dance.
Well, nobody cares about that, Colin.
That's true. It doesn't matter. Everyone loves my Skype dance anyway, right?
No. We'll see what's going on here. I'm not getting any He's not online. I'm not getting any Skype audio. This is fun.
That's
trying to figure. I a lot of kinks today.
Yeah, that's we'll just check with him because he's definitely ready. And oh, he just sent something else here. I guess.
Oh, he got a new one.
New Skype. Yep.
Oh, that's all right. I'll get him.
There we go. While Dr. Adam Roorda is doing that, we always make it happen here at the MMA Power Hour Show. We won't let you down unless we're absolutely forced, unless our hand is forced. And it's not going to be forced today. I have a feeling we have people that absolutely are excited to be on the show. And
absolutely, I've got to restart my Skype here, so it's going to be a second.
Okay, should I let him know that I'll?
No. I need that, and then I'll just call him.
You got it, brother. Anyway, so. You guys feel free to jump in. You know, we are interactive. If you want to jump in, if you have any questions for us, if you wanted to have us ask any questions directly to the guests, then we would require a little tip, a few dollars. We know people throw us $3, $5, $10. You know, because that would kind of require us kind of restructuring the interviews that we already have planned. So if you did want to do that, throw us a few bucks tip. We will get your question in to the fighter. Otherwise, if you have questions for us, absolutely no charge at all, and we'll answer them as quickly as we can during the show and or after the show. But yeah, we're doing everything we can to provide a fantastic show for you, and I know that that we are plugged into the heartbeat and the pulse, as it were, of the world of MMA, UFC, One Championship. Who just signed Kenny Florian? So happy to see Ken Flo at the mic again. He is going to be a fantastic asset. And you know what? It is not One Championship that signed Ken Flo. It is the PFL. Professional Fighters League, PFL, did sign Kenny Florian. So congratulations to both the PFL for the great score and Kenny Florian for getting in with a good organization.
My audio on the Skype is not working.
Okay. All right.
I don't know what's going on with this, Colin.
All right. Let me see.
Oh, there he is. Just came in.
Hey, Max, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. Can you hear me?
Kinda. Let me go.
No problem. I'll keep talking if you need to turn me up or something like that. And then whenever you can.
We just lost him.
All right. Why don't we try to Skype call him? See what happens.
That's what I just did.
Oh.
And it just popped up.
All right. We're going to make it happen, ladies and gentlemen, because I know you are interested in hearing this first guest coming off that amazing performance. And I think we hear him again. Max, can you hear me better now?
Yo.
Got you. I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. All we need you to do when you have a chance is to hit that video button, that old movie camera looking icon below your picture, your image, and then we'll have video and we'll give you the proper introduction. And so once we see that, there you go. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited and happy to have this next guest back on the show, coming off an absolutely fantastic performance that won a Fight of the Night bonus. Everyone's talking about it. So happy to have on Mr. Max Griffin. Welcome back to the show, Max.
What up, you guys? How are you?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
Wonderful, bro. It's been a good week.
Gotta be, man. That performance was amazing. You know, we've had you on the show probably for about 2 years, and we've been a believer in the pain, as you know. And we're watching, man, and we're seeing you every fight you're in it. Several fights you win it, and they don't even give it to you. So in reality, like you've been on a streak, whether it shows it officially or not. But before this fight, I was talking to one of our team members, one of our female team members who really is a fan of yours, and she loves UFC and MMA. And we were talking, and I said, man, you know what? I said, I just want to see Max not even give the judges a chance to mess this one up this time. I said, I really would love to see Max just not even give those fools a chance to mess this one up. And man, you did that. Was that your thought? Were you really feeling like you're just sick of these people figuring, well, I think Max did win? Well, no, he didn't win. Was that your thought? Did you want to end this one and take it out of their hands?
Yeah, I think my biggest thing was a mental change. I have a new mental coach, Danny Patterson, and I've had him since the last 2 fights. He really got me to be like my authentic me.
Yeah.
And he figured out I fight the best when I'm having fun and I'm excited and I'm not all tough and tense and tight, you know? So I had a different approach now, and I've been working on certain, you know, things that way. And if you notice, my last 2 fights were beautiful. You know, my fight before, got a 3rd round TKO. Ramiz Brahimai, really good guy.
Yep.
He, you know, really good grappler, world champion. You know, chopped his ear off.
Yep.
And then this last fight, Steve, and I'm like, hold on, having fun works.
Yep.
Then this time I was so relaxed, just so feeling it, and you know, doing these, you know, making these adjustments. But the plan was to be on this guy.
Yeah.
Like, be on him.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't, you know. So
because I remember you saying in an interview after the fight that in watching film of that last opponent, Song Kenan, that he's really flowing when he's coming forward, but really not so much when he's going backward. And I thought that was a really good, that showed a really good fight IQ for you and your team, and the fact that you guys were really, you know, going out and you know, and studying your opponent. And I think some people just don't want to do that, or they don't care enough to do it. But I was really impressed that you guys saw that, because it is true. Going backward, a lot of people aren't actually very good. In fact, I remember being a longtime combat sports fan in boxing. This goes back to about when you were born. Roy Jones Jr. was the man back in his prime, who you could push him backward and he would knock you out as he was falling backward.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yeah, there's guys that. Yeah.
Right. But most guys just don't. And yeah, man, it's because this guy, you know, as you know, a lot of these guys from China, man, they're bringing in these tall guys who are all jacked and shredded, and they've got pop in their punch, and they got confidence, and they're young. And so these guys have been kind of lighting it up, man. And you just made this guy look like he wasn't even in, you know, he went to the wrong cage, you know, like he was in the wrong league or something like that. And so I was very impressed. That had to be a great feeling.
No, it felt great, you know, especially a guy coming off, you know, he's 4-1, had some big wins, but, you know, I was going to beat this guy. Yeah. I really liked the opponent. I mean, honestly, when I first got the opponent, I thought I'd get a bigger name. Mm-hmm. But my manager was like, hey, man, we could beat this guy. And then, you know, we'll renegotiate and get some good money.
Yeah, and that's what it was.
Yeah, and I looked at it like that, like, yeah, I'll beat this guy, you know. You know, a lot of people didn't know who it was. I'm fighting the Chinese guy, mm-hmm. And I'm like, they're like, who? And I tell them, I said, we don't know. I'm like, well, just you know. Yep. But you know, it felt good to go out there, and it's kind of weird. I felt kind of like a fortune teller, man.
Mm-hmm. How so?
I had some odds on the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into like the sports gambling kind of stuff now. And
love it.
I was plus 450, plus 550 to win by knockout. Mm-hmm. Which means you bet $100, you win $550.
That's right.
5.5 times your money.
That's right.
For me to win by knockout.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I went on my people's show, BR Betting, Bleacher Report bettors, and I said, hey guys, bet on me. You're going to make some money to win by knockout. And a lot of people bet on me, like nice. Hundreds of people.
Nice.
And they won. So
nice. I wish I had that.
Me over there. They're helping me with picks and my bets now and all that.
That's cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. No, you got to be into that, man, because that's a real thing. You can make some money there, and yeah, we're definitely into it, man. We're talking about that frequently. We have our guy who is one of our betting experts, Garrett Kerman. We've got our girl, Francesca Dominique, and then myself also looking at these odds and everything, man. And yeah, and Dr. Adam Roorda also, he's frequently picking some winners, and he picks a lot of underdogs. And so, yeah, we had you on the straight bet. I don't know why I didn't think to look on the knockout, because normally
on the props.
Yeah, man, because I'm going to look at that next time. But that was exciting. Well, I'll tell you what, finally, I think that is going to bring you to the attention to Dana White, if he didn't already appreciate the great work you did. But I'm sure that, you know, whether you heard anything from him or not, all of a sudden he probably knows pretty clearly who you are, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we you know, everything online says we stole the show, or I stole the show, not we. I
Yep.
stole the show.
Yep.
You know, the Brunson Holland was kind of a bust. So, you know, they said my fight, you know, saved the card, you know, as far as like with the main and co-main. And
Yep.
people are glad I was able to get that spot. And I was glad, man. I mean, I wanted to be, have a co-main event this year. That was my goal. Like,
Yeah.
get ranked, have a co-main this year. And then for me to get a call at, you know, 10 o'clock fight morning, like, hey, you got to report later to the van or to the limo. You got to come in event. Like, oh, really? Like,
Yep.
they said, you know, give us a couple hours. You know, then you could go ape shit.
Nice, nice. And I read you were pretty emotional having that great fortune bestowed upon you. Huh?
Great news, man. That's great news. I mean, I'm quite damn emotional anyway. I'm ready to handle business, you know.
Without a doubt, I'm with you, especially after all that weight cutting and other stuff and all the hard work you put in.
Yeah.
Did you feel any? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Did you feel any added pressure, man, when you got word though that you'd be co-main?
So, to me, it was like a blessing. I was so thankful for it. Like, oh my God, like thank you, you know, such a blessing. Yep. But I told people they're super hyped, my friends, everybody. But you know, be careful. Don't let it get like, I'm just telling you this, but don't let like the glitz and glam of it, like, take you out of the fight. Oh, I'm the co-main now. Like, you still got to fight this guy. He's still dangerous, you know? I'm like, I know. I'm just excited to be on the co-main event. Yeah. Are you kidding me? You know?
Absolutely. Now, he didn't land too much, but did he ever hurt you with anything, or how did his power feel? No.
He hit me. He jabbed me in the nose. But it didn't hurt me. I mean, that's for me. It's like I just don't like getting hit. My coach doesn't like me get hit at all. Like sparring, like don't let him hit you. You know. So I'm looking at it like that too. Like it's
Yep.
It's more of a game for me.
Absolutely. No, you look good. Like our girl Francesca would say, you came in there and it went like bink, 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 and the fight was over.
Shout out to Francesca, thank you.
Yep. She's a big fan. She's awesome. So tell me, what are you thinking in the future, man? It's got to be someone with a number next to them, and you got to be someone with a number next to you as well. I know you're just gonna, interested in just doing your job, but like, are there any names that are being floated around either by the UFC, or are there any names like in your head that you think would be fun matchups for you?
I already said Jeff Neal. I'm trying to think guys in that top. I said Jeff Neal. I said someone else. Someone said Robbie Lawler. Vincente Luque. That would be fun.
Right. Yep.
I know he's fighting Woodley though.
Right. That other Brazilian guy is tough. That Capoeira, Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. You know that guy?
I fight him.
Yeah, I think it would be great, man. I think getting you into a match with someone that's going to throw down like that, man, would be super exciting, And
yeah, there's just not a lot of guys like that. He's a sav. Like, I love that guy.
Yeah.
We made some good money together.
Without a doubt. How soon do you think you'll be ready to go again?
Well, I was working out today. I went on a run, hit the weights, hit the bag. I said I want to keep my abs this time. It's funny, my teammate Anthony Hernandez, who just choked out Rodolfo Vieira like a month ago.
Yep.
We always lose our abs. He had a joke that we lose our abs after the fight, because we eat so much. I eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yep.
With a dessert.
Nice.
I'm kind of toning it back because I wanted to fight in Houston. That's in like a month and a half, so right. I can't get too high,
Exactly. Speaking of getting high, as far as weight, do you ever see that 200 needle after doing a lot of eating?
I had 200, because this last fight, it was, around Thanksgiving, Christmas, had like that holiday weight,
Yep.
But I'm normally like 90s.
That's cool.
90s.
That's cool. One of our fans congratulated you on the fight of the night. It really was. The main card really was the Max Griffin show. man, people really were talking about that because other things were not as exciting. So yeah, our fans are happy for you. But yeah, there are going to be so many great fights for you. You know, in this COVID era, it does seem like if you win, they want to put you in a quick turnaround. Like guys are getting 3-week turnaround, 4-week turnaround, 5-week turnaround. So what are you're thinking that maybe like a 5 or 6 week?
They told me to stay ready. I mean, I did want to fight in Houston. I called out Jeff Neal in Houston.
Yeah.
And I think that's May 19th, March, April, May. It's May something, end of May. So that, or, I mean, we'll see. We're still renegotiating contracts too, so.
Makes sense, absolutely.
We'll see what happens. We're still doing our thing.
Absolutely. So. Jeff Neal would be a banger. That would be a hell of a fight, you know. But let me ask you, one of the other guys you mentioned was Vicente Luque, and we've had him on the show here. He's a real nice guy. I don't think he ever.
He's a stud, man. He's a great fighter. Carlos Condit. I mean, I've always wanted to fight him. I wanted to fight Robbie Lawler.
Yeah.
Ponzinibbio. I want to fight all the guys, you know.
Absolutely.
It's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, it is, without a doubt. Without a doubt,
so
your future.
I'm gonna get there.
You are. Your future looks bright for sure. What do you think about this weekend's fight with Luque, man? I'd love to have your opinion because this is your weight class. You've been fighting great people. You've been aware of everyone. I know you're a student of the game. What can Tyron Woodley do different than what we've seen him do or not do in the last 3 years? I'm a fan of his. We had him on the show a couple years back when he was champ. But I just don't see what he's going to do against Luque, and I just almost feel like this might even be his retirement party here as he gets pieced up. But I don't know. What do you think, though? All respect to Tyron, of course.
All respect to both guys, man. I like both guys, but Woodley hasn't been doing this thing this last 3-4 fights.
Yeah,
he's and it's not. I mean, he's fought champions.
Yeah.
Coached by Colby and Burns and Usman.
Right.
But he didn't look good in those fights. It's not like he lost like close fights or he just got like just dominated, just punked in all these fights. It's like in his eyes. There's like no there's no fire in his eyes. Like
right.
Like there's like a candle. It's burnt out.
Yeah,
like,
it seems that way.
His eyeballs, man. Like
yeah. Do you think
he can't win like that? But he's fighting a guy. He might wrestle him. I think he could beat Luque if he just tries to wrestle and kind of go that route.
Yeah. Now this is a 3-round fight. I talked to Tyron in the virtual media today, and I thought that he would maybe have some more optimism about 3 rounds or some more information. Although he did seem pretty tired. Maybe it was a tough weight cut or something during the virtual media day. But one of the things that could favor him is he doesn't have to really pace himself for the 5 this time. He can go out, and he's one of those fast twitch muscle guys anyway. And, he can kind of go out hard, being that it's 3 rounds. Do you think that favors him at all or gives him any extra?
Yeah, I think Luque usually beats people, like, at the end of a fight.
Yeah. Yeah, so
it's kind of how it seems to me. Like, he gets you tired, and those shit just adds up, and he's so technical. And,
yep.
But yeah, I love running with him, man.
Yeah, that would be a great matchup with you guys. Luque, you just like yourself, man. You guys kind of have like that the late marvelous Marvin Hagler chin. I like to say, right? And I know that was back when you were, just being born, but I don't know if you ever watched any of his fights. One of the interesting facts about the late Marvin Hagler is he had like 67 fights, and he wasn't really hurt in any of them. Really, nobody had him staggered or hurt. And I think, and that's how crazy is that? 67 fights, no one hurts you.
Yeah.
I remember the guy just was a beast. In fact, I think they actually said he had some kind of a physical advantage where they said the thickness of his skull, like coming around his temples, was like an inch thicker than the average person. Yeah, yeah. They said it was almost like he was wearing like a little bit of like a headgear.
Like a helmet.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how crazy is that? But
headgear.
What's that?
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Built-in headgear.
Right, and it's just, but I think also the will and determination, you know what I mean? I mean,
that matters.
Yeah,
that matters.
Exactly. Not only that, but it's like he was one of the guys in boxing in the 70s and 80s that was shredded and had a six-pack, and there wasn't even that good nutrition knowledge back then. You know what I mean, right? A lot of guys were trying to get in shape, and they still came in looking skinny fat, you know, or fat. And, you know, Marvin Hagler was just shredded. And so, yeah, just, you know, testament to a great athlete. But having that great chin, and that's what Luque said also. I talked to him today. That's something that he feels very good about, is having that chin. But I did point also out to him that media was saying if he wants to just stick out that chin to Tyron Woodley, that could be giving Tyron his only chance of winning. And Luque said, yeah, he's not going to do that. He's not going to plan on just going out there and, you know, having his chin hanging there for Woodley to hang, you know, because Woodley has that overhand right, you know, and some skills. But it's going to be interesting, man. And on that card, man, so many cards, so many fights are falling off, man. And I wonder who in fact, that's the co-main event. Okay, so main event, can I pick your brain real quick on that? Yeah, I'd love, I'm so anxious to see what you think, because it's funny. I had 2 or 3 top 20 UFC fighters on the show in the last couple weeks, and all of them I think picked Derek Brunson to beat Kevin Holland. So I'm starting to think, man, maybe if I do get opinions from people like yourself who are in there, maybe I can make some money, you know. But so let me tell you my thoughts, and I'm dying to hear your thoughts on how you see it. But like, my thoughts are this: the question is, has Stipe lost a step at all since they fought last, or has Francis been able to really dramatically improve his takedown defense or his striking timing? I know there all this footage where Mike Tyson's showing Francis all this and that, but it's like, what I'm wondering is, who has either gotten worse or better since their last fight, and that can make the difference. What do you think?
Yeah, I personally think Ngannou did get better. I mean, it's been like 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, it has, yeah.
And, you know, I know Ngannou has a bunch of crazy knockouts. You know, he's had a lot more success. I mean, could he have been wrestling for 2 years? I mean, he's at Extreme Couture.
Yeah.
So he's wrestling.
Yep.
I remember I was talking to somebody about him, and he said on his first fight, he didn't even know the rules.
Oh, wow.
They just told him to go kill that guy, you know?
Right.
And
right.
he went there and mopped the dude up, but he's really fresh. And now I think that, you know, he's been at Extreme Couture with Eric Nixak and that other guy, Cobra Kai system.
Yeah.
You know, I think he hits really hard, man. But I mean, Stipe's been doing well.
Yeah.
But who got more better in that time, you know?
Right.
Because he was hitting, I mean, you know, Stipe was landing shots on Ngannou, you know?
Yeah.
But also, I mean, how many times did DC hit him, you know what I mean?
Right.
DC hit Stipe a ton of times.
That's right. That's true.
He can't, a ton of freaking times. Like, they're playing sock and boppers.
That's true. Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
You can't do that with Ngannou.
No. Do you think it's possible we may be seeing a new champion Saturday night?
I do, man.
Yeah,
I do.
That would be exciting.
I really do.
And he is slightly favored, but man, yeah, if he wins, that would be scary, because it'd be hard to see someone beat him, you know. And but man, there's some people out there, but I don't know who. So yeah, no, he looks amazing, man. He's a interesting physical specimen. I heard one of his coaches say that Francis's body is almost like a welterweight or a lightweight, as far as like how athletic he is and how not bulky he is. But he's almost like a lightweight or a welterweight, but just in mega size, right? And it looks that way because, like, you look at the guy, he's got a 6-pack, he's shredded, he's not fat, he's quick, and is just a really good athlete, you know. And he seems like a pretty good guy. Have you ever got to talk to him?
Yeah, no, he's a good dude. He pictures with my son.
Nice.
We were in the PI one time, and my son's short. He's a kid, you know?
Right.
It's a funny picture, though. Great picture.
I like that, man. Is that up on your social media somewhere?
I gotta find it.
Yeah, you gotta Yeah, you got to put that up. That would be cool. But anyway, man, I'm super excited about what you're gonna do next, man. Do you ever look at like and plan your career out? Like, do you have any end date? I know you're not near it now, and coming off that win, no one's talking about you should look at retiring because that would be ridiculous. But do you ever think to yourself, or was there ever a time where you said, yeah, 2026, I'm going to be done with this, or no, just kind of open?
So I'm gonna do what I'm getting better, man.
That's true.
It's not like I'm getting worse.
No.
I'm getting better. So it's like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna keep doing it till I feel good. And,
absolutely.
I'm going on a big run, bro. I'm telling you, it's my time, man. It's my time, and I'm gonna start tearing these fools up. Like,
I believe it.
I promise.
I know you will.
Promise,
I know you will. And you're still over at Marin Noble, or did you move somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm at Marin Noble's kickboxing, but I'm also at MMA Gold. I'm also at Team Alpha Male.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. You're getting all kinds of different looks. Huh?
I'm Mr. Sacramento, game fit.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Sacramento over there.
You know what's funny is our representative Francesca, I think, lives right near Sacramento. Maybe sometime we could get you to do a side-by-side interview with her. Do you think if you had time?
For sure, yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I'll hit her up and we'll connect it. But yeah, man, Northern Cal is cool. So much great talent there. Team Alpha Male, and then you got AKA, and then you got the Diaz brothers. Any thought about the Diaz, man? There's a lot of talk about them. A lot of people are hating them now. I forgot who I had on. I think it was maybe it was Jamal. Who? Shane? No, it's Jamal Hill. I think it's Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill really hates the Diaz.
No, they're cool, man. I mean, they're cool. They're like an hour and a half away or whatever.
Yeah, do you think?
Though.
Yeah, they're talented guys.
They're not doing nothing. I mean, they're not fighting right now.
No.
I know they were teasing stuff, but they come back. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. You never trained with either of them, did you?
No, I was supposed to, and then it didn't work out.
I gotcha.
I was on my way down there, and something happened with my son, and I had to his mom. I don't remember.
Right.
It was some bullshit, but
understood. But all respect for them.
It was a crazy scenario, but it was supposed to happen.
I gotcha. Yeah, they're talented guys. I followed their careers from the beginning, and then Team Alpha Male, man. You got Uriah Faber in charge there. Who's been giving you some good looks over there?
And my guy Ryan Loader. Chris Gonzalez, shout out to him. He's fighting a nice Bellator fight April 2nd. Slava Borshev, world K1 kickboxing champion, bro. I'm with a lot of guys that are really good.
Nice.
Nice. Really good. World class, So it's great.
And how about MMA Gold? Are one of those guys over at MMA Gold, or who's helping over there?
Yeah, I got, Anthony Hernandez over there. That's my dude. Aspen Lads come from over there.
Nice. Yeah, man, that Anthony Hernandez fight was crazy because all the talk going in, the guy was 4-1 dog, and everyone just said, man, Vieira's going to go in there and tap him out unless Hernandez can get out of the first round. And I remember thinking to myself, man, I don't know. I mean, Vieira's a beast, but did you have all the confidence in your boy in that fight?
Oh, yeah. I thought he was going to knock him out, though,
Yeah.
But
tapping him out was pretty...
with that fluffy team, and I lost my voice, bro. I lost my voice for a week.
I bet.
Oh, my God. Those are 30-1 odds.
Wow. For him to tap him out.
Submission.
Yeah, I know, man. That was crazy. That was really amazing. And you know what's interesting, man? Let me ask you this. We only have about 5 minutes left with you, or a few minutes. When the other guy knew, the other guy's team knew what your boy Hernandez had to do, and it still happened. What happens when a fighter and a camp can't make an adjustment? I mean, I'm not trying to put them down at all, but I mean, is there anything they could have done for their guy?
What happened was, dude was so burnt out. He tried his hardest to submit Anthony, but I mean, he was on top. But Anthony kept moving, made dude work.
Yeah.
Made dude work for those submissions. He didn't. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I flipped. Yeah. So,
no problem.
Anthony made him work. Anthony was able to escape, and dude was all the way gassed. He was all the way gassed, bro.
Yep.
And I mean, dude's huge, power guy.
Yep.
He cuts like 40, 50 pounds.
Yeah.
A ton amount of weight, and I mean, he got so tired he couldn't even hold his hands up.
Yeah.
And then Hernandez went in there and put it on the man.
That's
Head
crazy.
kicks, flying knees, like elbows, like dude's tough, man.
He really is.
Able to get it to the ground and took that for a while.
Made it happen. Yeah, and that's middleweight division, isn't it?
Yeah, 185.
So yeah, what does Anthony Hernandez have next, man? Everyone's got to be excited for what your boy does.
Yeah, he's actually fighting Puna
Soriano.
Yeah, Puna Soriano.
Nice. Now, are you in the?
They're friends, you know. They were friends, so now it's like you got to have the young studs fight.
You got to, man. They
That's
hate
what
to
Dana
do it.
didn't want, so hey, they're gonna go after it.
When is that? In about a few weeks or a month or something?
No, they just signed it.
All right.
I think it's in June, March, April, May. Maybe not that far. A couple months, maybe like 2-3 months.
Now, are you ever in anyone's corner? Would you be in Hernandez's corner, or how does that work?
No, I've been in his corner in China, and we have a ton of coaches.
Nice.
You know?
Nice. So you don't have to be, but you can be out there watching. But yeah, man, some crazy stuff going on in the world of MMA. But one of the uncraziest thing is the great thing that you did was that great knockout, man. So excited to see it. Great things are coming for you and to you, because you stayed focused, you stayed consistent, and you've even stepped it up. Like you said, man, you can see that you're in there, you're relaxed, and it's flowing, and that's what it really is about. I think a lot of fighters have shown, like John Jones, go in there, relax, and have fun, and it comes natural. I think a lot of it's like Bruce Lee said, the more relaxed you are, the quicker you can react.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think your focus is great, man. I can't wait to see your next fight. I hope it's a turnaround like you want in the next 5-6 weeks, and someone with a name next to it. It's going to be great. And not only that, but now that you've been a co-main event, they got to give you respect and keep you up at least high on the card, if not co-main event, and hopefully that will be what you get next. So, what's the best place for people to support you on social media?
Find me on my Instagram. I mean, I'm on Facebook and Twitter, but hit my Instagram. Max Payne Griffin. Everyone listening right now, Max Payne Griffin, please. I'll make you laugh too.
Say that last part again.
I said I'll make everybody laugh as well.
Absolutely, I like that.
Funniest people on Instagram.
I believe it. You do have a great sense of humor. I think that's one of the reasons, other than the respect I have for you, that you and I connect, is I'm that guy also that are causing people to crack up. Sometimes I don't even think I'm saying something funny, and people start laughing. So, it's good to have that. It's good to have that skill, make people happy. Well, hey, I'll hit you up. Maybe when you let me know when that next fight is signed, and then I can have our girl do a face-to-face with you in Sacramento.
For sure.
Awesome. Hey, sure. Max Payne Griffin, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate you.
Thank you, bro.
You're welcome. So happy to see the success. It is much deserved, and a lot more coming to you.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you, bro.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
Peace.
And that was Max Payne Griffin. Like that guy. So happy to see that, Adam. We've been aboard the Max Griffin train for a couple of years.
Yeah, and it's almost been 3 years now.
Pretty close.
I think the first time we had him was 3 years ago.
I think pretty close, if not 3. Yeah, we realized the potential in him. He's also a good guy to interview. He's natural. He's relaxed. He's speaks his mind, and it's a good back and forth. I like him a lot. And I did not even know. Actually, I did know he was doing some training with Team Alpha Male, but yeah, he's right there where Francesca is. So yeah, that's so cool that he said we could do a side by side. So I'll hit her up, and I would imagine we'll probably hear about his next fight somewhere in the next few weeks, and then that would be awesome to make that happen. And then we could have her do a segment there and just send it to us, I would think, or something like that, right?
Yeah. Listen, I don't know. We've had him on so many times. I think her having her own segment, just have her send it, and I'll put something up on social media. And speaking of social media, everybody go on over to our social media, either on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Make sure to give us a follow. All the likes, comments, and shares are more than appreciated. It's only because of you guys that we're able to keep this show going. And speaking of keeping the show going, one of our partners has offered up an amazing discount for all of you. And in return for purchasing using their product, you're actually helping keep the show going. Go on over to mmaph.nesashemp.com to get the only full spectrum hemp oil on the market. It is a CBDA product, so it's a cold pressed CBD or cold pressed hemp, so that way you can feel the benefits of CBDA. And there are too many to list, but they definitely help out. And I've been taking this for 3 months now, and I can tell you my life has changed. Colin's has changed. It is one of the best products in the entire world. I mean, it really is. It's been helping me out in ways I couldn't even begin to explain.
Absolutely, really, really good quality stuff, and not just saying it. You should check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm legitimately saying this. I'm not reading this from anything right now, guys. This is,
and I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. Really good quality stuff. You can even smell the active ingredients. Some of the stuff you get, you really can't even smell anything. And if you have a good sniffer like I do, you should be able to smell some active ingredients when it's a hemp or cannabis, oriented product. So be careful of inert stuff. This is full spectrum. You don't want to get some of that half or even no spectrum stuff that's out there. Speaking of, Nesa's Hemp, it's the best, and we appreciate it. Speaking of which, full spectrum MMA entertainment and information is right here, coming from yours truly, Colin Crandall, and the doctor of MMA
and a bunch of other people as well, because we've got MMApowerhour.com. Make sure to go on over there and get signed up for the mail list while you have the opportunity. And again, I'm not even reading this. I love all the news that we're getting pumped out. We've got the great Ross Marquis. We've got Garrett Kerman, the fight analyst, one of the most respected handicappers in the sport. So if you guys want that fight knowledge and predictions, he's one of the best in the industry. And
Dylan Boker,
and he's got an audio podcast he's putting out every single week. It's Bouts talking bouts, and absolutely great stuff every single week.
Gotcha. Our next guest might even be
he absolutely just sent me a message. Perfect timing. You pointed at me right when it popped up on the screen. I was like, oh, that's cool.
That's it. I saw the S flashing actually to give it away here on the front.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yep. But yeah,
he's
really
just gonna come in. There's no more Skype dance for us anymore, unfortunately.
No problem. And then when you can
there he is.
Get up his stats.
Absolutely.
Okay. Hey Kyle, can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. All we need you to do is hit there. You got it. Perfect video. So we're live. I'm going to give you a great intro here. Ladies and gentlemen, I am extremely excited about this next guest coming on our show for the first time, joining a group of UFC champions and top contenders and upcoming prospects. And I think this man is an upcoming prospect on his way to being a top contender. So happy to have on the MMA Power Hour for the first time, Mr. Kyle Daukaus. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, my friend. I know I talked to you in person after your last win, and that was definitely exciting. And it's been a few months here. You've been able to get a little bit of rest and heal up, and I think there's something to say about that. I think sometimes there's so much 5-6 week turnaround in the COVID era here, but I think that may be better than a whole year off. But I still think that everyone should realize that to have to stay on weight and do one training camp after another really isn't that ideal. And so if you had to say what would be an ideal amount of time between fights, what would you say? 3 to 4 months, 4 to 5 months, 2 to 3?
Yeah, I would say probably 3 months the max. I'm somebody who likes to have an 8 to 10 week fight camp.
Right.
I don't like to go anything over that. A lot of guys like to do 12 weeks. I've done a 12-week camp, and it kind of beat my body up, and I was very miserable at the end of come fight time.
Right.
So I think between 8 to 10 weeks for me is the prime fight camp time. So as long as my fight's over with and I have the following week to recover and just let my body heal a little bit, I can get right back into it and train a full camp 8 weeks after that.
Excellent. Now, even though it's been 4 months since your last fight, I don't think you had a ton of time being aware of this fight. It was only a few weeks or a month, or was it more than that?
No, it was actually more than that. In January, I got a call to fight him on, I believe it was 2 to 3 weeks, 2 weeks or so notice. And I wasn't really training like as intense as I usually am. I had just bought a house, so I was really focused on the house at the time. Mm-hmm. And I asked for a full camp. I said, I don't want to fight the guy on short notice. I don't want to become this guy that's taking fights on short notice.
Right.
and I want time to improve, and I want time to prepare for the fight. You know, I'm getting called up against a guy that's 13-0 on a week's notice. You know, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I asked for the full camp. They gave me it, and it was a lot longer than 12 weeks, I believe, at the time. So I kind of prepped my body for those like 4 weeks, and then I've had a great camp for the past 8 weeks.
Excellent. And so this guy looks like Eliashkab Kizriev. Maybe if Dr. Adam Roorda can click on his record, I'm going to have my producer open up his record. So this is a guy that I'm wondering if he's another Dagestan. Well, not Dagestan, but close. Rostov on Don, Russia. 30-year-old, and it looks like he is doing some submitting of people and knocking some people out. In fact, it looks like he goes to a decision very rarely. So definitely a guy who goes for a finish, and he probably has been fighting in Russia or somewhere like that until he got to the Dana White Contender Series. Yeah, I see him in M1. And the Contender Series, he won by a rear naked choke, and he also had won by that same method before that. But definitely, wow, it looks like all his subs are rear naked choke, in fact. Yeah, all of his subs are rear naked choke, and I don't believe you've been rear naked choked probably in a long, long time.
No.
Yeah.
I have not. No, he's from what I know, he's a very good wrestler.
Yeah.
His fights, obviously he's undefeated. He's 13-0. But if you kind of look at his record, nothing to take away from it, but like the first, I think like 6 or 7 fights, I believe he fought like 2 guys that debuted. And he was fighting guys that are 3-2 and like 5-2, and I don't think his opponents stack up to the way that my opponents have.
Definitely,
and I think that's what people are taking like out of context in this, is that they're just like they're saying he's 13-0 and they're expecting him to be a beast coming into the cage, but I kind of see past that. I kind of see that this guy's like, you know, I'm not taking anything away from him or anything like that. He's a good fighter. He's 13-0, but I don't think he's as good as everybody's making him out to be.
Yeah, I would agree. And this fight is at middleweight, is it, or is it welterweight?
Yes.
Middleweight.
No, it's at middleweight. I won't be able to make. I don't think I'll ever be able to make welterweight unless I cut an arm or a leg off.
Yep. No, I have a feeling. I've been impressed with you for a while, man. I think you got
Thank you.
No problem. The first UFC fight you got on about 5 days' notice, didn't you? Or 9 days or something.
Yeah.
And and that was crazy because Brendan Allen was really streaking at that point. And you came in and gave him hell. I mean, that fight was like back and forth, and he had been having like a full training camp, and you came in your UFC debut. And I tell you, a lot of guys come in their UFC debut and just have an adrenaline dump. You know, the lights get to them. Even if the fans aren't there, the pressure gets to them. All of a sudden, their friends are watching them. And you just came in and like right away were really comfortable in the UFC. How do you explain that? What do you attribute that to?
Honestly, I think the fans not being there helped.
Yeah.
Because it was my debut. You know, looking back at it now, it was my debut. I was on a main card. So if I was fighting in front of fans, the stadium would have been packed. So I'm pretty sure that would have, you know, kind of given me that adrenaline dump that I would have gotten if the fans were there, as opposed to them not being there. You know, when they weren't there, it was just like another training session. When you go in there, it's like another sparring session that you have because nobody's there. You know, but I do look forward to the days that the fans come back. So yeah, I can just say that I guess my performance of being so calm and composed was due to the fans not being there and me just being like familiar with that arena because I'd fought there for the Contender Series. So I was just familiar with everything.
Absolutely. And April 10th, this next fight will be in Vegas too, or is that to be determined?
No, it's in Las Vegas. So yeah, it's in Las Vegas as of right now. Then they're not bringing fans back until the 24th, so that's 2 weeks after mine. So
yeah, and that one's going to be over in Florida, I think, where they're going to have all the fans there. And yeah, can't wait to see that back. It's weird, man. How have you dealt with this COVID situation? Actually, tell us where you train out of, where you're from, and the gym where you train.
Yeah, I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I train out of a gym called Martinez BJJ. It's right kind of in the heart of Philadelphia. It's in Frankfurt and Cottman, which is in Northeast Philadelphia. We're just a small, like, little local gym that just a couple of guys that are just training our butts off to make it to the big show. We're not looking for handouts or anything like that. I kind of like we all kind of like that the gym isn't very known, and
right.
that the gym's just not known. So we're just kind of staying under the radar.
Right.
We don't need a ton of guys coming in and trying to make it like a huge gym of fighters of all UFC guys. So we just like to keep it to ourselves, and that's it. Yeah. But as far as the COVID and everything like that, honestly, I could say that COVID is probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah. How so?
Just based off of the situation. Because the fights that had happened, the UFC was still going on while the COVID was kind of like peaking. I had gotten the call for the UFC, so it was great, and my brother had gotten the call as well. And because everything had closed, we kind of had secret, like we kind of had like little meetups at people's houses training wise. So the guys that were like committed to me, as far as like training partners and stuff, I could call them up whenever I wanted, and because they weren't working, they could just come in and help whenever they wanted. And I'm very grateful for everything that they've done, and it's crazy to see that just where I've gone in the last year. So.
Absolutely. And I was just going to ask, but you beat me to it. Your brother is also in the UFC. What's his name?
His name's Chris Daukaus.
That's right. And I believe he's a heavyweight, right?
Yes, he is. Yes.
And he's been doing pretty well as well so far, huh?
Yes. Yeah, he's been doing very well. He's on a 3-fight winning streak as of right now. He's the number 10 ranked heavyweight in the UFC right now. So it's pretty crazy to think that, for him, 3 fights ago, he was, before he even got the call to fight for the UFC, he was unsure if he was ever going to fight.
Oh, wow.
Like in 2020,
right.
He was scheduled for a fight in March, to fight for the CFFC heavyweight belt. And right as like the COVID had come out and became this big thing, CFFC had canceled the show, I think a week before the fight. So he pretty much didn't know what he was going to do. It was very, he's very miserable. He's freaking out and stuff like that. But, it happens. And the good that came out of it was that he's jumped leaps and bounds above everybody else with the 3-0 win streak and becoming ranked as a heavyweight. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Who's older out of you two?
He is. He's 3 years older than I am.
That's cool then. In a way, then that kind of works kind of good that he's getting a little bit of a head start ahead of you, because I remember as the older brother, I used to think, man, there's got to be something to seniority. In fact, I remember when we would sit down at the table and my mom would make her special mashed potatoes. I was the oldest brother, and my middle brother would grab it first, and I'd look at my parents and I'd say, what is this? Who's the older brother? He can't tell him he can't have mashed potatoes first when the older brother is in attendance at this table. Right? And so, so in a way that's kind of cool. The big brother, he's getting up there and you're on a way too. Now, with a little bit of the weight difference, I mean, good, it's only a couple weight classes. You guys, I'm sure, have been training together all your lives. Can you still get in some good looks with each other, or do you try not to, or does it depend who else is available?
No, we're always training together. He's also a Philadelphia police officer, so his schedule kind of fluctuates. Mm-hmm. He's usually, the days that he's night work, he comes in the morning and trains with us at the gym, and then the weeks that he is day work, he comes in and trains at night with us at the gym. So I'm in the gym 2 days. I'm at the gym 2 times every single day. Mm-hmm. So I get in there with him all the time. He's kind of my number one training partner. If the gym is closed or anything like that, we go down in the basement and we hit pads or we work out, we grapple and stuff like that. So I'm training with him every single day. So it's good to get different looks from different guys that I'm training with, because you kind of do get familiar with your training partners and familiar with what they get good at. Mm-hmm. But that's always something that you should be working on as a fighter, is trying different things and trying to improve in different things. So if I just train the same with my brother as I would, with anybody else, he's going to get hip to everything. So I have to train new things, and it's good because he's at the top tier of the sport that I'm trying to get to as well. So I know that I see him training hard. I know that as long as I train as hard as he trains, that I'll get to where he is in my division. But yeah, he's my number one training partner, and it's us every day, and it's great.
That's awesome. Now, I imagine when you guys were both training MMA and hoping one day to get to the UFC, that you probably may have done some investigating to see exactly how many brothers have fought in the UFC. So if you had to name them, let's see who could name more, you or me.
Okay.
You go
Diaz
first.
brothers,
All right.
Miller brothers,
Yep.
Ellenberger brothers,
Yep.
Pettis brothers,
Yep.
Nogueira brothers.
Yep.
Is this strictly in the UFC?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that may be it as far as that. I think you may have beat me by one.
I think I'm missing one more. I think I'm the Burns brothers. The Burns brothers.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not many. I mean, it's literally like half a dozen brothers. You know, so that is really amazing because they say that the chances of someone's sibling also being an elite athlete are very slim. How did it work out that the Daukaus brothers are one of the few that can do this?
I honestly think it's just our hard work that we've been putting in. You know, ever since we started the sport, we have been focused on this goal to be in the UFC and become champions. And we've dedicated 100% to this, and I think that's just what it is. You know, we're hard workers. You know, we're not looking for handouts. We're not looking for gimmies or anything like that. And I can just say that that's probably the only reason. You know, that we're just hard workers, and that when we get into the cage, that we get the job done, we get into the cage, and that's all that matters. You know, as long as we're in the cage and as long as we win inside the cage, that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you both basically always have the confidence? And I mean, not that you have to share anything personal that you don't want to, but were you both always feeling, I know you said your brother wasn't sure at one point maybe, but like what was that about? Was there a time that you were all excited and he was like, man, I don't know if this is going to happen? Or was there ever a time that you were saying, I don't know if this is going to happen? Was it kind of back and forth, or were you guys mostly like on the same page and like super focused and super positive all the time?
No, you know, with fighting comes ups and downs, and with fighting there's good days and bad days. And you know, I can have a bad day, and you know, my brother can have a good day.
Yeah.
So I can see the good. He can tell me the good that he saw in my bad day, and then I can kind of like take that and try to like improve. I've lost fights. Like in my amateur career, I was a 5-5 amateur. As of right now, I'm a 10-1 pro. So when I was an amateur, I wasn't the confidence that I had as an amateur like was not as good as my confidence is now. You know, I started training when I was like 17 years old, and then I was fighting, and then I became 5-5, and I wasn't sure. Like going pro, I was like second guessing myself on everything that I've trained for. You know, I was confident. I was a little, you know, I was confident in my ability because towards the end of my amateur career, I was like undefeated in my weight class when I went to 185. But turning pro, you know, it's scary, you know, because every fight counts when you turn pro. When your amateur fights don't really count. I mean, you can have 25 fights and they don't count on your record. So as soon as you turn pro, it's 0-0. So yeah, I mean, I'm lucky to have such a good professional career right now. My brother has also lost. I believe it was 3 fights. He's lost 3 professional fights. I've been in his corner for every single one of them, and I've seen him be miserable as well. So it's just, I guess it's just positive reinforcement for both of us. You know, when I see him lose, or if he sees me lose, you know, we talk about it afterwards. We get our feelings out. He tells me what he thinks I need to work on, and I tell him like what he needs to work on, and we're truthful towards each other. And I think that's what kind of keeps our bond strong. And just our confidence as of right now so high.
Makes sense. Do you guys have kind of an identical athletic background? Was it always the Daukaus brothers doing this wrestling or that jiu-jitsu or that karate or whatever? And what was it that you guys were doing? And if anything, what was different about what you guys did as far as learning the ropes here to be a mixed martial artist?
Yeah, so as young kids, for both of us, we both played sports, and we both did a bunch of sports. We did like intramural sports all the time. We did soccer. I was big on soccer, baseball, and basketball. My brother was big on soccer and hockey. He played, and then when my brother got to high school, he found lacrosse and started playing lacrosse when he was in high school. When he was playing lacrosse in high school, I saw him playing it, and I was attracted to it as well. And then I started playing for like an intramural team. And then once I got to high school, I started playing as well. And we both became very, very decent at lacrosse. My brother played for Penn State Abington, I think it was, for a little bit. It's like a little sister school of Penn State, Maine. Mm-hmm. And he played lacrosse there for a little bit. I played lacrosse in high school up until my junior year because I had to switch. High school was my senior year because my school had closed. So we've always been athletic. And then he found the gym that we started training at. He told me about it. I went over there. I started training as well. So I fell in love with it from day one. He started training at the gym and doing jiu-jitsu, and I solely focused on MMA when I first started. So yeah, we've always been in sports. We've always, we're kind of at that age where like he was a senior when I was coming in as a freshman. So he was graduating as I was coming in. So we never got to, play on the same teams or hang out with the same people or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So I think that kind of helped as well because, we weren't together all the time.
Right.
They knew that him leaving, I was coming in. So there was always a Daukaus brother kind of there.
Nice. Very cool. And so it sounds like from what you're, from what you're saying, that Martinez BJJ really has like a full curriculum as far as like jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and striking.
Yes. Yeah, we do. I'm there every single day, twice a day. Monday, Wednesdays, it's MMA, and then Tuesday, Thursdays, it's more jiu-jitsu focused. In the morning, we do no-gi grappling on Tuesday and Thursday, and then at night, on Tuesday, I have MMA class, and then on Thursday, I have jiu-jitsu class. And then Friday night, I have kickboxing, and in the morning, I go over to New Jersey and do strength and conditioning. But it's good. We have a great team there. We have a great coach, and Will Martinez, who is a Bellator veteran. So when my brother and I first joined at the gym, he was actually in the Bellator tournament fighting for the featherweight in the featherweight tournament. I believe he made it to the semifinal, but as soon as we joined up, he was fighting for the tournament. So we got thrown right into training with professionals. Nice. Right off the bat, because we were bigger guys, so we were bigger bodies that they could toss around and train and use during sparring and MMA practice. So we knew that if we can handle ourselves with these guys as amateurs, that we can do a lot better as pros. And seeing the hard work that they do and seeing what they do and them giving us feedback on what we should do as we grow as professionals, the sky's the limit to what we can do.
Absolutely. And I wanted to make sure that the name got out there clearly. Was it Juan Martinez, you said?
Will Martinez.
Will Martinez.
Yes.
Excellent. Very, very cool. I think I remember that name. So yeah, tough guy. Yeah. So, speaking of that, what do you think? It seems to me that there is a lot of benefit learning all the skill sets around the same time. In fact, I think in the last 10 years, maybe, that really has been most common, whereas before that, I'm sure you were aware that you had to go to one school for your jiu-jitsu, one school for your wrestling, and one school for your striking. In fact, no problem. And I think we actually still have some athletes that are way better wrestlers than they are strikers or jiu-jitsu because they came from a wrestling background. They wrestled in high school and college, right? Do you think that one is better than the other, that it's better to have to learn all three at the same time? Or do you think it's just as good maybe if you were really good at one skill set and you're kind of learning the others afterward?
That's difficult. I think it's a difficult question to answer because, there's Division I wrestlers and division Olympic wrestlers that are in the UFC that are amazing and that are dominant in what they do, but there's also, strikers that are kickboxers that have 100 fights that are dominant in what they do that have no wrestling experience.
Right.
But, the fight does start standing. So I think striking has its advantages. And I do think it's a lot easier to learn how to strike first and then get up get off of the ground than it is to kind of grapple first and then strike second, just because the fight starts standing. So you have to know your footwork, you have to know your distance control and the strikes that you should use from a certain distance as opposed to being close range, and clinching and everything like that, and cage work. But yeah, I think it's a lot easier to strike first and then learn to get up, as opposed to being a heavy jiu-jitsu guy and not having as good as striking.
I agree. And I know I'm from kind of the Midwest / East Coast myself. I'm from Michigan. And I know that probably like you in Philly, we all grew up with a punching bag in the basement, right? Pretty much, right?
We did.
Right. And so you have that technique, even if it's like someone like me that was never a pro athlete. I always trained and I always had some snap just from doing it ever since I was like 3 years old. And I think you get some wrestlers that just never had that, and it is hard. I think Ben Askren is a good example of an amazing wrestler, but just no matter what he did, he couldn't get any snap on his punches. And I think it's almost like he just didn't even want to bother because it just didn't work. Speaking of which, let me ask your opinion. There's an interesting matchup coming up, him against Jake Paul. You're probably aware of that. Couple of,
Yeah, I'm aware of that, yeah.
Right? Now, one thing that I think people are not taking into consideration, I'd like your opinion on this. Obviously, Jake Paul couldn't beat any top 50 pro fighter. That pretty much people understand.
No.
But he definitely can beat guys like me and my co-host and other guys that aren't fighters because he's got some technique, right? Ben Askren may not have the hands, but Ben having been, this is something I think people aren't thinking of, Ben having been in MMA for so many years where he was getting hit in the face, he was getting kicked in the face, he was getting kneed in the face, even though the knee he ate by Masvidal put him out. Still, the man, he's a rugged dude. To be an MMA fighter at a pro level, you're not someone who's going to be easy to hurt in a fight. And so, can that help him? Is it possible that even if his hands aren't as good as Jake Paul, that he might be able to just kind of walk through Jake's punches and almost laugh at them? What do you think?
I'm looking. I don't know. It's tough. I'm looking at the fight as like if they're going to let him box and let them clinch up and let them kind of get inside boxing. I think Ben has the advantage because of the wrestling experience. He knows how to clinch.
Yeah.
He knows how to kind of weigh heavy on an opponent, and he knows how to like use his collar ties and stuff like that. And as long as he can like kind of just weigh him down and clinch Paul the whole time, then I see Paul kind of like being kind of gassing out. I think he's going to go out there and try to just like take his head off right away.
Yeah.
As like Paul towards Askren.
Right.
I honestly think he only has maybe like a good 2 or 3 rounds in him, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But I think they're only fighting like a 7-round match or something like that. But I can see Paul kind of going in there and just keeping his distance and beating Askren from a distance. But I can also see Ben going in there, weighing him down and gassing him out and beating him. And I think that's how it'll play out. I think it'll play out more in Ben's favor just because of the experience wise. Yeah. And they have big gloves on. I mean, not so much as like huge gloves, but Ben's getting used to getting hit with 4-ounce gloves that we're wearing.
Right.
And in the boxing ring, I think it's 8 to 10-ounce gloves.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's not a lot of padding in the gloves, but still, I mean, 4 ounces is going to make a big difference.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that a lot of the laymen or a lot of the kind of novice fans or people that are just boxing fans are not thinking about that at all. All they're thinking about.
No, they're looking at Paul like going in there because he's like, the kid runs his mouth. The kid just talks smack, and I mean he's running his mouth with McGregor and Diaz and Dana White, and it's just kind of distasteful. But the people nowadays they love that stuff, and I don't know why they like it, but yeah, that's just what people love it, and people want to see them knock people out for some odd reason. I don't know.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. I agree with social media influencers. It's kind of ironic too that he picks an MMA guy, but he has to pick a guy with some of the worst hands. But I think if he loses and Ben beats him, I think that will be kind of a laugh on him from the MMA world, which is, you go ahead and pick a guy with the worst hands and then he beats you. So now you have that. So, I think a lot of MMA people, including myself, are going to be cheering for Ben Askren. And I think he does have a chance. Yeah,
I will be too.
Yeah, definitely. Could I get your opinion on this weekend's fights?
For the whole card or just the main event?
Maybe the main card.
I don't know the full main card. I know that the Woodley fight, the O'Malley fight, and the Stipe fight. So I'll just kind of throw those out there.
You got it. You got it. Whatever you say, we do.
For the O'Malley fight, I mean, I'm not really a big fan of O'Malley. just because of the. I mean, people kind of are going at him because he's saying he's undefeated still and everything like that. I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go out there and lose a fight and then say, "Oh no, I'm still undefeated" or anything like that.
Yeah.
He got kicked in the leg and fell. It's an injury. It happens. But he also on the ground. He also got knocked out. Like if people don't realize that he got hit with 3 elbows and got put out.
That's right.
So it's not like he dropped down on the floor and the ref called it.
No.
He dropped down on the floor and
got smashed.
Cheeto hit him. So for that fight, I'm gonna have to go with Sean. I don't think Almeida is big enough to compete with him. And the striking, I think he has an advantage. For the Woodley fight, I honestly don't like the way that Woodley's been looking for the past 2 or 3 fights.
Yeah,
it's been really rough. You don't really know what's going on in his life, like outside of fighting.
Yep.
You don't really know like what's going through his head when he steps into the cage. After he lost to Usman, it kind of just went downhill from there. Yeah. So I think I do like Luque. I do like his striking. I do like his style. But he just needs to be careful on obviously the big right hand and the wrestling. But it all depends on what Woodley comes out. I mean, if the Woodley that fought Robbie Lawler comes out, then that's a very dangerous Woodley. But if the Woodley that Usman and
Burns,
who just beat him, that Burns fought and that Rory McDonald fought, then Luque should have no worry in the world. But I'm going to lean towards Luque just because he has the better striking, I think, and he can just get the job done from no matter where he is.
Yeah.
And as far as the main event, I'm not really big on Ngannou and his striking. Don't get me wrong, he has power. He can knock you out with like a flick of his finger. But if you look at the technique in his punches, I don't see any. I don't see technique.
Not really.
I think he just goes in like his last fight with Rosenstruck. He kind of just went in there swinging like crazy.
That's true.
Was kind of hoping. Was kind of just hoping and praying that one of the shots hit, and if they do, then lights out. I was also there in Boston when Stipe had first fought him in their first fight. I was there live.
Oh wow.
And it was a good fight. I did enjoy it, and I'm pushing for Stipe just because I like Stipe. I'm a big fan of Stipe. I always have been. And I just hope that Stipe keeps winning until my brother comes up and fights him and beats him.
I love it. Now, what I wonder is this. Everyone is looking at the fact that going into that first fight, in fact, I just had Max Griffin on before you, and I think he agrees with your first 2 picks, but I think he's predicting that Francis can possibly or probably do it. But the one thing that he said was he heard that the Francis camp going into the Stipe fight, and this is not an exact quote of Max, but he heard that they really didn't talk much wrestling with Francis, and that he really had never fought anyone that was that good a wrestler, and he didn't even really completely understand that there were a lot of guys that were going to do that, and he went in there just like not being prepared. Whereas for the last 2.5 years or 3 years or whatever since he fought Stipe, he's now more than aware of what Stipe can do. Now, it's unfortunate that since then he hasn't again fought wrestlers, but he's been drilling a lot. So what I wonder is, like, can a guy like that from Africa and from France, not doing any wrestling growing up and not even really having a much of a striking background, but just being an amazing athlete who is a good striker, maybe not super polished, but can he improve his takedown defense like dramatically in 2 or 3 years to be able to do something against Stipe? Probably unlikely, right?
Well, I mean, he has been striking for a while. He has the power, and if you look at his fights, like prior to, I'm gonna say like the Overeem fight, anything prior to the Overeem fight, he was very technical in his approach into fighting.
Yeah.
I think his debut was a crisp like lead uppercut that he landed on the guy.
Yeah.
And then it seems like technique went out the window ever since then. Like people have boosted him up so much that he's got all this confidence in the world and striking wise. But I would say that, again, it's a lot easier to learn how to strike and then learn how to defend the takedown. It's a lot easier to it's not like super hard to defend the takedown as long as you know what to do. But Stipe is a very good wrestler, and that was the main difference in the first fight was Stipe just went in and would shoot a power double and take him down.
Yeah. The only thing that I think people wonder is Stipe is like 37 or 38 now. And even though you have a longer shelf life at heavyweight, I feel like if he's lost a step even since his last fight, that could just be enough for Francis to catch him. Or what do you think that the other factors are maybe in this matchup that will will make it look any different than the first matchup? Or do you think it could really look very similar?
I would say the only thing I'm worried about going into for this guy for Stipe going into the fight is the damage he took in the fights prior. If you look at the fight against Ngannou that he took, and then that first fight against DC when he got knocked out with just a little flash hit, that just shows the damage that punches do to you. And if you don't take enough time off, then you don't you're still not recovered.
Right.
So I just hope that he's recovered from these last 3 DC fights that he had. His last fight with DC was a back and forth battle. They were going back and forth, and I know it was kind of a while ago, but I think it was in August or something.
Yeah,
August
I think
or September,
so. Yeah,
but
a few months back.
But still, I mean, when you're fighting a guy like Francis, one shot can hit you. One shot can hurt you. But also, Francis has lost a lot of weight. You can see that, in just his physique and stuff. So yes. I think that's going to be an actual factor. I think it's gonna help Stipe in the long run, taking him down and weighing on him, because Ngannou's not going to be used to, I guess, grappling such a grappling heavy approach at that weight and defending takedowns, and somebody weighing on you, and you have to carry their weight, and you haven't been carrying 265. You haven't been carrying your weight for a while. So this guy who's 230 pounds is weighing in on you. It takes a toll. And I think I'm rooting for Stipe, but I don't know. I don't know, man. Yep. It takes one shot from Ngannou, so it just depends.
Yeah, it really does. I think so too. Well, we only have a minute left. I know that there's been nothing that there is this big fight coming up for you next. We'll be cheering for you. Anything signed for your brother Chris yet, or not yet?
Not that we know of. No, I think he's still renegotiating his contract. We're seeing what's going on with that, because he does have one more fight on his contract. So we're seeing if what they're going to approach. I would like to see him fight Volkov or Rosenstrike, but I'm not the matchmaker, so I'm not sure what they're gonna give him. But I would like to see him fight Volkov or Rosenstrike. I think those are good matchups for him.
Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, I'd be happy to interview him too if you ever have a chance to let him know. I think I could be one of the few interview shows that has interviewed both Daukaus brothers. I'd love to.
Yeah, I'll let him know.
I appreciate it. I'd love to be that show. Well, Chris is your brother, Kyle Daukaus, man.
Yes.
I really appreciate you coming on here. Can't wait to see you take it to your opponent on April 10th. And the man from Russia is going to be losing his O. And I really feel that, you can make it happen. I think the odds are pretty close right now. But I really look forward to you bringing some East Coast intensity and power to him. And really appreciate you taking the time here to talk to us in the MMA Power Hour.
Hey, man, thank you. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on here and talk to you.
You're very welcome. Anytime. You have a great night.
Thanks, man. You too.
Thanks. And that was Kyle Daukaus, really good guy. He and his brother, like he mentioned, only one of a half dozen other sets of brothers to fight in the UFC. And they're in there at the same time. They're really on a great pace. His brother's a heavyweight and he's 3 years older, which is perfect because heavyweights have a longer shelf life. And so both Daukaus brothers could be in this game for another decade, if not more. And that would be cool. We'll work out and have Chris Daukaus on. But yeah, Kyle Daukaus, really good guy, likable dude, don't you think, Doc?
100% likable, and checking him out in the video and seeing it, it's like, oh, that's an All-American right there.
Yeah.
He just has that All-American athlete look going on.
He does. He really does. Real good.
It reminds me of everybody in the films that's always a lacrosse player, and it's like, oh wow, you said it.
Yep.
For some reason, that was in my brain.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. Yeah, it'd be real good Midwest, East Coast boy in this case, but definitely looks like an All-American dude and friendly, respectful guy and good athlete, and really happy to see brothers. I've always been.
Yeah, and I'm pretty partial to him. Pretty much agreeing with me that Stipe has a good chance on this one.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm not as much behind the hype with Francis's striking, so I I am on the exact same page. Yeah, I recognize and understand Francis has that knockout power beyond anybody else, but you know, I'm kind of the same way with Sean O'Malley. I mean, I think opposite of him on this. I think Almeida is kind of the same story as Stipe versus Ngannou for Sean, and yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. Hey guys, anyway, head on over to our other social media. It's just at MMA Power Hour on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're most active on Facebook and Twitter, so make sure to go on over there. And also go on over to mmaph.nesashemp.com and get yourself a nice discount. They're providing that to you guys, so that way you can access their full spectrum hemp oil and feel all the benefits from it at a nice discounted price.
Absolutely, please do. You won't regret it. Anyway, we're ready for our next full spectrum guest, Dr. Adam Roorda.
Well, it's not a full spectrum guest, but I will say full spectrum.
No, he's a full spectrum. I think he's a full spectrum.
Full spectrum, but that's not the same thing as full spectrum.
That's true. It's got to be double full. Well, you're right. Nesa has the double full spectrum. This is just the regular full spectrum. But you know, at least there's that. It's better than the old half spectrum guests that are out there on people's shows. We bring you full spectrum guests, ladies and gentlemen, whatever the hell that means. Anyway,
we have no idea. But
this is full spectrum MMA entertainment here, baby. Let me tell you that. Anyway, Shintas throws bombs. That's the key. Throwing some bombs. That's what Francis does, and you know, we're trying not to bomb here on another good episode of the MMA Power Hour. And we got our next guest, Dr. Adam Roorda, is getting ready to key him up.
I'm waiting.
All right.
So it's ringing. There's no ring to tone to it now. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
To no sound then here.
Ah. Yeah.
Ding, ding,
so
ding.
Those of you that are tuning in for the first time here, make sure to share and let people know about this show. We love that we see so many of you watching us right now. Our numbers are increasing every single week. We are probably the #1 watched MMA show out there. Surprisingly, I was surprised to learn this recently, but
and I think we have our next guest, Dr. Adam Roorda. Daniel, can you hear me? Oh, we got to have you do is, yep, no problem. Hit that video button when you have a chance, and you already hit it. Perfect. All right, we're live.
How long? You know how long this interview is going to take?
Yeah, can we keep you for maybe about 20 minutes, 22 minutes?
20 minutes.
Cool.
All right, cool.
Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are so happy to have this next guest back on the show. Super exciting UFC fighter. Goes by the nickname D-Rod. Please welcome back to the show, Daniel Rodriguez. Thank you so much for coming back on, D-Rod. Really appreciate you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How's it going?
Doing good. Doing good.
Show.
Hey, we're happy to have you back, man. And we want to definitely give you a chance to shout out your upcoming fight, because we are only 2.5 weeks away from it. And Dr. Adam Roorda is scrolling down to see it. But why don't we let you announce it? Can you tell us where the fight's going to be and the date and who you're fighting?
So the fight is April 10th. Location is Las Vegas, Nevada, UFC Apex, and I'll be taking on Mike Platinum Perry.
Wow, that is the fight that people are talking about. Platinum Mike Perry, man, I can't wait for that fight. Who started talking about who between the two of you, or was it about the same time that you both started throwing each other's name out?
It was me, you know. I never really been the type to, you know, do a lot of talking. I usually just handle my business. But, you know, I just want to fight the dude. You know, everybody I tell, every other fight I be telling, you know, I'm fighting Mike Perry. Like, man, I want to fight that fool. It's like 10 other fighters in the UFC. I was at UFC Apex over, and then everybody I'll tell who I'm fighting, they're like, man, everybody wants that fight. So I'm grateful and I'm happy that I got the opportunity.
Absolutely, man. That's the way to be. You know, always be grateful for the opportunities you get, especially in these crazy hard times, man. But you deserve it, man. That's an interesting fight. I'm from Detroit originally, like Mike Perry. He's an interesting character. He's an intense guy. He's got some skills. What do you think about the fact that, like, the last couple fights, or at least one of them, all he's had in his corner is his girlfriend? Did you hear about that? And what do you think about something like that, where he's just going to bring a girl who doesn't know probably anything about MMA into his corner?
Man, he's saving money. I'll tell you that much.
You're right on the payouts of the commission.
That's the only thing I could think of. You know, he must be confident in his own skills enough to know that feel like he could, you know, coach himself pretty much, and you know, just have his girl, you know, maybe, you know, pumping him up, gassing him up, you know, and so, you know, I think that's a money move if anything, you know.
Yeah, it could be, and I don't know that he's going to do that this time. I almost feel like maybe a couple fights that he felt he had pretty much without a struggle, but I know he can't think that way about you because that's going to be a difficult fight for him. How do you feel about that matchup, man? What other than the personality that he has and the fact that he still has a lot of shine for being a tough, crazy guy, what excites you about fighting Platinum Mike Perry?
I'd say his popularity. I think his fight style makes for great fights. You know, that's bonus fights. You know, and that's all I'm looking for. I'm looking for exciting fights, man. I'm planning on putting on boring fights, and I think me versus Mike Perry is a great matchup. It's a great opportunity to, you know, he's a big name. You know, that's what excites me the most about him as well. He's a next level opponent. I feel like I'm ready for that, and I'm excited to test myself against, you know, a guy like that, really tough, you know, durable guy. You know, he's. I've seen him fight one of my opponents. I've seen him fight one of my former teammates, and I feel like I'm gonna do great in this fight.
Absolutely. What do you think? What do you think are some of the advantages for you? Obviously, you're younger. You don't have all kinds of miles on you. He's had his chin checked a lot, although he is a tough guy. You got some reach. Yeah. You got some reach on him. Some athleticism. I mean, is there? Do you think that just like the whole package that you're better everywhere? Or do you feel like, you know, like you don't want to look at things that way and like this could be like an even match?
I always feel that way about my opponents, whether or not I feel like I'm better than them all around. I feel like I feel like I'm the better fighter on the ground, even though I don't really display that much because I do have so much success on the feet, and that's why I prefer to keep the fight. Yeah, I think. Fuck, dude, I forgot the question.
No problem. Like, are you feeling? So you do feel pretty much like you have advantages pretty much everywhere in this fight, and that's the way you normally look at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like he does have taking a lot of damage. I think I'm fresh. You know, I'm not too much younger, but I'm younger in the game. You know.
Yeah.
I don't have like a lot of damage. My fights, for the most part, are you know, I don't take very much damage like he's had some really tough losses, you know, and at the same time you gotta watch out for dudes like that, you know, because those fuckers are tough. You know, he's a tough dude, and you know, he's hard to put away, but you know, yeah, I feel like I'm better in a lot of aspects of it as far as, you know, skill wise and technique. I think he's just like one of those wild guys, you know, and I just have to play it smart in this fight, but as well at the same time, like, be aggressive and not give him no kind of respect. Absolutely. You know, even though he has, you know, knockout ability and, you know, he's a pretty strong guy, you know, but as far as, you know, at the end of the day, most times technique will beat strength any day.
Absolutely. Now, is there any genuine bad blood between the two of you?
No, not really, man. He like for the most part, he's not saying nothing. And you know, I said what I had to say to get the fight, and you know, it's time for me to just stop talking so much. And you know, I got the fight that I wanted, and it's time for me to talk with my hands, my fucking knees, elbows, whatever I got. You know, that's gonna do the talking from this point on. But you know, I mean, I want to sell the fight, but you know, I've always been that type of person where I just handle business. I'm not about talking very much, you know.
Absolutely. What happens if he does want to start talking in the cage? I've seen him sometimes do that. He doesn't always do it, but like, you know, has that ever happened to you before? Would that distract you? And what if he purposely wanted to distract you by saying the crazy stuff in
there? Look, man, I'm from LA. It's like I grew up, you know, shit talking and I grew up in the hood, you know, like, like everybody talks shit, you know, that shit, it don't faze me.
Nice.
You know, to me, it's nothing to me, you know. Actually, there's been a couple fights where I'm talking shit, so it's really just a confidence thing. If you want, like, it depends what he's saying. Like when I'm talking, it's because I got my confidence is up. I'm like, I'm feeling good in there. Once I start talking, you're in trouble because I'm comfortable.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, this is a matchup that could be really exciting for the fans. Let me ask you this. Justin Gaethje is a fighter who is always exciting like yourself. In the early days, Justin Gaethje was exciting because not only would he put the punishment on his opponent, but he would take all kinds of punishment. Like he was like an old school boxer, like Arturo Gatti, if you ever heard of him, a guy who fought in the 90s,
of course.
right? And
Legendary fighter.
Yeah, man, may he rest in peace.
Yeah.
But so there's a bunch of people that will say, man, I would love to see D-Rod go in there and exchange bomb after bomb after bomb with Mike Perry, and for these two guys to just beat the crap out of each other and make it like a Rock'em Sock'em Robots, where it's like back and forth and back and forth. Now, I know that you could be down for that, but I also know that fighters have to be aware that you don't necessarily want to give away some kind of brain cells like that too much. What's your feeling on that? Would that be something that you still feel like you're young enough that you don't mind jumping in there, or would you much prefer it if it was completely one-sided where you're just piecing him up?
I've been in brawls before. That Gabriel Green fight was, somewhat of a brawl. He kept coming, eating a shitload of punches, and it's like, Mike Perry wants to make it that kind of fight, then that's what it's gonna be. I'm just known to throw hands. At the same time, I'm prepared for the fight to go wherever. If he tries to take me down, I'm well prepared in that aspect of the game. And if he wants to exchange punches with me, then we could box. We could strike, whatever. He's a tough dude, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna use my skills and my techniques. I'm not gonna sit there and let this fool hit me just to hit him back. I'm gonna make him miss, and I'm gonna sock the shit out of him. And I know that's what fans want to see, but at the same time, I'd prefer to piece them up and leave the fight, with the least damage possible.
Good. I like to hear that, because the reality is you can't worry about the fans wanting to be entertained at the risk of just, getting your face smashed in. That's why Justin Gaethje stopped doing it. And I think because, he wasn't even 30 and he was getting rocked, like half the time. And so I'm not saying, don't have an exciting fight, but I like to see fighters realize that ideally you don't want to take too much damage, and that's cool. Do you ever think about taking anyone down? I know you like to see how the striking goes, and you are a super athletic guy and very polished with your movement, but are you against taking someone down? Because that has been something that people have shown against Mike Perry, is that he's not bad at the wrestling game, but it's not like his forte. Is that something that you just don't want to do because it's not fun, or is that something that we could possibly look for you to do, is throw in some takedowns?
It depends on where the fight goes and how. I train with fighters that I train with Cowboy Cerrone, and he's had experience in preparing for him. Also, he's trained with him before, and I know a lot of inside stuff as far as his ground game goes, and but on the other hand, like he fought Mickey Gall. I didn't expect him to take down Mickey, because we trained together, and I just feel like I could beat him anyway. I could beat this guy anyway.
Nice.
Really, no.
Speaking about Cowboy, who else has been helping you for this camp?
Man, this camp, it's been a long camp. Started getting ready for this back in January. I started getting ready for whatever. I knew I wanted to, I had caught COVID in December, and man, it made me feel shitty.
Right.
And coming in January, I just really wanted to shake that off and get back into fight camp and be ready for whatever, whenever, as always. That's the result of me having 4 fights last year, is always being prepared. So I took a little bit of time off. Honestly, I think COVID kind of helped me, like, let my body heal, because it was a long year. And started getting ready for this. in January, I went up to train at the BMF ranch with Cowboy, you know, because it's at elevation, and it's like I could really focus there on training every single day, hard, eating right, and getting the right rest. I was out there for about a month. I came back home for a few weeks, training with Joe Schilling at the yard, as well with my MMA team, Eddie Bravo at 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu. I went out to Las Vegas for a couple weeks, trained over at PI, got some good work there at Syndicate MMA, working with John Wood and all those guys. And now I'm back in LA and gonna finish out camp right here with, you know, Joe Schilling and my team, and 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu, you know, as well getting my strength conditioning and everything else that comes along with being home.
Amazing. And those are some really, really top high level people you just threw out, man. So you're going all over the place getting the best training, and it really does make a difference. It really does. Well, I know we got 5 minutes left with you. I don't want to go over the time, but the next 5 minutes, let me throw you some different questions. So compared to the last fight, I think you were kind of worn down going into that last fight, and still looked pretty good. But what do you think, what can you tell the fans watching that they can expect to see improvement on compared to your last fight?
Yeah, I mean, last fight, I don't want to make no excuses. You know, I left it too close of a fight. I feel like I won the fight, but at the same time, it was a really long year. I was dealing with, you know, a few injuries. I had torn my calf muscle, so I couldn't run, and I couldn't run the way I normally do, and do a lot of stuff like as far as sprinting, because my calf muscle. So, you know, that could be one of the reasons why I slowed down in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, no one's ever 100% going into a fight. So this fight, you could expect me coming in well prepared, you know, ready to handle business, great opportunity, about to bounce back from this loss, and, you know, coming back with a bang. Like you could just expect. And I'm first fight on the main card, so I want to open up the show with a bang. I believe this fight's on ABC or something like that. Like,
I think it might be. Like yeah, network television.
Something crazy like that. So if I feel like the UFC, they smart about that one, putting me and Mike Perry to open the show on national television.
Yes.
You know? So I just might give people what they want to see. We might get a brawl. Who knows? You know, but you just got to tune in April 10th.
Absolutely. It's going to be amazing on ABC, and we just verified that that is indeed ABC. Excellent. In the last 3 minutes we have, can I get your opinion on the main and co-main coming up here this weekend?
What fight's that coming up?
We got the co-main. We got actually maybe 3 fights. We got Sean O'Malley against Thomas Almeida. We got Tyron Woodley and Vicente Luque, and we got the heavyweight championship Stipe against Francis. Do you have any opinion on the yeah?
Man, I was over at Apex.
Yeah.
Francis is a fucking beast, bro.
Yes.
That guy is. Wow, man. You see this guy in person, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah,
dude,
he's strong.
Man.
He's strong and athletic.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I got Francis on this one. You know,
right.
You know, the guy wants it. I've seen him training. I watched it. You know, and the guy's a scary dude.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna pick Luque on the next one. I think Woodley. I don't know, man. He hasn't been Tyron Woodley lately.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. It does seem like the fire's a little bit.
I think it's a great opportunity for Luque, so I think he's gonna show up in this fight.
Yeah,
man, I'm always rooting for Sean O'Malley, man. He's a, you know, future big star of the UFC. Hopefully he does great.
He is. What do you think of the heat he's taken by the fact that even though he lost to Chito Vera with those leg kicks, and then he got you know, kind of grounded and pounded a little bit, he's kind of like saying that that's not really a loss because his legs gave out on him. And I'm not trying to like bring the hate on him, but can you understand his mentality, like not wanting to look at it as a loss? Can you kind of relate to that at all? Does that not make any sense to you?
I mean, I feel it, you know. I had 2 losses, you know. Both of my losses, I feel like I won those fights. You know?
Right.
So I feel it, you know, and you know, the fans feel how they feel about that too. You know, I got the fan support on that. Everybody tells me on my 2 losses, they feel like I won. So in my mind, shit, I'm undefeated too. If you ask me, a lot of people might say that. You know?
Right.
And that gives me confidence knowing that. But I know that, you know, on paper, you might look at it like that, but if you go back and watch the fight, you'd be like, oh shit, like he didn't lose, you know?
Right.
And
with Sean O'Malley,
I feel what Sean O'Malley's, you know, saying. I feel it.
whatever helps him kind of be in the best state of mind is what's important, huh?
Yeah, you know. And you know, even if you do lose, you know, shake that shit off. You know, you're still a beast. You're still in the UFC. You know, that's how I feel. You know.
Yep, exactly. And he is a talented guy. And yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to beat. I don't think Almeida will be able to beat him. Last question, real quick. When some guy is coming off of 3 losses like Almeida, I mean, obviously a man wants to fight for his job, but I don't think I've ever asked a professional fighter this question. Maybe I have, but would you imagine that if someone's coming off of 3 losses and you hardly ever see Dana allow someone to have 4 losses in a row? Can fighting extra hard for your job like really allow you to fight better? Like, can that extra motivation make a man fight like over his head?
Yeah,
it can. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, bro. Like
Right.
that's why you know, I try to think of Mike Perry in that sense.
Yeah.
Like, damn, he's coming off losses and he might get, you know, cut at some point. If he takes another ass beating, well, he is gonna take another ass beating. This fool's about to lose his job.
Right.
You know?
But he will be fighting hard, you're saying.
I'm expecting him to fight like he's trying to provide for his family. Like, I'm like, he's gonna come at me like I'm taking food out of his kid's mouth. But at the same time, he's taking food out of my kid's mouth.
Right.
So I'm ready for that. You know, he got a family to feed and shit. He just had a baby. You know, he probably fucking motivated as fuck to not lose his job.
Yeah.
And I expect that. You know, and I'm hoping for the best Mike Perry possible. Cause hey, he gonna get the best D-Rod. You know, I'm in shape. You know, I'm ready to do this shit. So it's gonna go down, man.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see it April 10th on ABC. Platinum Mike trying to beat this man here, D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. Don't think it's going to happen. D-Rod, we're with you. Want to thank you so much, man, for taking the time to come on the MMA Power Hour again here and chat.
Yeah, man. Anytime. It's good to see you guys again, man.
Thanks, brother. You have a great one.
You too, bro.
Thanks. And that was D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. I like that. I like what his answer was on that. And he knows that I guess it will make guys fight extra hard. You're fighting for your job. I remember in one of those Wild Kingdom TV shows, they said that the animal who's running for his life can sometimes run faster than the predator who's chasing him trying to get a meal. Right. And so, you know, he will be ready, the Platinum Mike, and maybe even Almeida.
Almeida, yeah. Well, that's part of why I think he's going to take this. I think O'Malley, psychologically, you can just tell he can't admit that he lost in his head. It's hurting him so bad that I have a feeling it's got him psychologically. He gets a couple, if he gets taken down at all by Almeida, I mean, this is pretty much going to be a psychological whooping right off the bat.
Could be.
I see it coming down that way.
Yeah,
I really do.
Well, even though Almeida tends to be much more of a striker, it's hard to say. I mean, I think in this case, O'Malley, coming off a loss, even though he's not wanting to look at it that way, probably does feel the motivation to get redemption for what he considers even an on-paper loss. And I think he'll be fighting hard. I think maybe if Almeida had this fight with O'Malley before O'Malley lost, maybe O'Malley would have been like 10-1 favorite in this fight instead of just 3 or 4-1, and then O'Malley may have come in overconfident. This might have been a spot where Almeida can catch him, but I think that O'Malley is going to be super focused. I mean, in this fight, it's so hard to say. Just the length and the youth and the confidence of O'Malley is probably going to be a problem. But nevertheless, though, I am excited to see D-Rod against Mike Perry. D-Rod mentioned he was from, you know, the hood in Los Angeles, and Mike Perry we know from the hood in Detroit. So that's going to be a battle, man, of the Midwest, East Coast against the West Coast, and I think D-Rod is going to do great, and you know, should be fantastic show. Well, we do have a few minutes here because I can see D-Rod did want to make sure he took care of other obligations, so we let him go. So instead of being pressed for time, we actually don't have to sign off for another 8 minutes or so, 8 or 9.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna reiterate for this weekend. Actually, I don't know if
you want to go down lower. So Kama Worthy is a friend of our show, and Kama will win this fight. Kama's going to win this fight. This guy Malarkey is going to be tough, but Kama often getting off that loss of just getting caught by Atman Azatar, and there's no shame in that, man. That guy just catches people, but Kama is really focused. We had him on last week. Got Kama Worthy, Jillian Robertson and Miranda Maverick, both multiple-time guests on our show. Man, I hate that. I will say this, though, that a friend of mine, a popular MMA journalist, I won't mention his name, it was not a friend of mine. It was a guy who's done a lot of videos for many, many years. He picked Miranda Maverick in this fight because he said that a lot of times the crisp striking ends up meaning a lot in women's MMA and the UFC, unless your name is Tatiana Suarez or possibly even Carla Esparza, if your name is, and they can beat you with wrestling. I'm excited
to see Tatiana come back.
Yeah, me too. But if your name isn't Tatiana or Carla, you're not really a woman who's beating people with wrestling. And if you're not a woman who's beating people with wrestling, that means your striking's got to be on point. Miranda Maverick having the better striking, probably decisively over Jillian. So, damn, it's going to be hard, but I have a feeling that Miranda takes that fight, and hopefully it'll be a battle where they both do well. But Alonzo Menafield probably easily over 5 fights. So a last-minute opponent, a man with 5 fights, is going to be in the UFC. I think that record was only broken a few weeks ago when one of City Kickboxing guys, one of Izzy's teammates, came in with 3 fights. So it's, and he did all right, but he lost. But anyway, we have a cousin or a brother of Habib Abubakar, Nurmagomedov, a tough guy, going against Jared Gooden. I got Abubakar there. And then Bukauskas against Oleksiejczuk is going to be tough. I think I might have the favorite in the Russian guy, although our friend Chris Allen has interviewed Modestas, and he's a very, very tough dude. Modestas Bukauskas. Shane Young and Morales is going to be a tough fight. And Abu Azatar, who obviously is a relation, I'm pretty sure, of Atman Azatar. And he's probably going to beat Marc-Andre Barrio, although that could be a tough fight. Interesting card. This card has been getting some heat for not really being a pay-per-view worthy card. And
I think the main event, co-main, and the fight right before the co-main kind of justify it.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to thank Shinta for your comment. Great show, guys. Thank you, Shinta. Really appreciate you. Ask JoJo on. I know JoJo Calderwood would love to have the Scotswoman on the show. I love that accent. The only thing is, Adam, if we had Joanne Calderwood, a Scottish national who has a fairly thick Scottish accent, would you be able to arrange subtitles for the interview if we needed it on the show? You wouldn't? Would that work then, or might that be a problem, do you think? All respected Joanne Calderwood.
It'd be awesome, but it would be problematic.
That would be kind of funny, because I have a good ear for accents. I really do. But man, out of all the native English speaking countries, Scotland is the hardest for anyone to understand. I had a good friend.
That's because they're actually speaking just something a touch off from English, and it's like, oh wait, that's not a word that we use here.
No, it's very odd, And like what was it? What do they call it? There was one word that I know that they say is that's sounds like a funny word that it's not supposed to be, but I can't remember it right now.
The C word. Is the C word?
Is it that? No, I think it's something. Twitter when you're Scottish is twatter. Yeah,
twatter.
Yep, in the twatterverse. Yeah, So anyway, love the Scottish people. Our friend John Richard McElroy, and I can understand him. I think he doesn't have the thickest accent, but probably
pretty thick. But I love it.
Oh yeah, and then but if we were to have Paul Craig in here, maybe, or JoJo, Yeah, fellow Scot, Shinta. That's right, with that Gaelic. Yeah, Shinta is probably a Scotsman himself. So we're not ripping on the Scots, Shinta, and I love them, and I think we can make it happen. I will reach out to her. I think she doesn't tend to do a lot of media, but love to have JoJo. I've been a fan of JoJo Calderwood's since she was on The Ultimate Fighter. She is just so cool, and I think she's really come into her own, and she's a super talent. So love to see that. Anyway, Dr. Adam Roorda, if you want to do a little bit of signing off here or whatever you want to do, since we have maybe 3.5, 4 minutes left.
Got about 3 minutes, and I want to go ahead and say thank you to everybody tuning in and the interactions here. We're starting to get used to, and you guys threw out some questions for the fighters. I know not everybody has tons of money, but we're doing this. We need to raise funds for the show. So in the future, if you're wanting to ask the fighters questions, make sure to throw a little bit of a tip in there if you're over there on YouTube. That's a really good way for us to just make sure to get those questions out. Yep. Really incentivizes us. Otherwise, we have to try to keep the show going. We're willing to take breaks and change the flow up a little bit for you guys. If you guys are definitely throwing even $1, that's enough. But we love you guys. You guys are amazing. As I've said before, make sure to go on over to Nesa's Hemp. It's mmaph.nesashemp.com. Get yourself an amazing discount to get their full spectrum hemp oil. It is a CBDA product, so it's a lot cleaner than a CBD or a THC product out there. And also go on over to Mocha Tribe, mymochatribe.com. Get yourself a nice 10% discount by using discount code MMAPower10, and you get 10% off. Some of the best coffee in the world, it really is. And also make sure to, for all of you bettors out there, make sure to go on over to our social media and click on a link to Bovada. Get yourself up to $250 bonus when you sign up, or even if you're already over there. I believe you can take advantage of the sign up bonus. It depends on how much you've taken care of with bonuses before with them, but they're usually pretty good about it, and an excellent place for betting. They have some of the best line bets and prop bets out there. In fact, I would say they're probably the premier source for prop bets.
Yeah, I think they are. Bovada is a great source to use. I am not a huge gambler, but I've used it as my exclusive source for several years now. So Bovada is definitely the place, and Mocha Tribe definitely the coffee. In fact, while you're drinking a cup of Mocha Tribe, you will be as sharp and mentally alert as you can be to be wagering your hard-earned money on MMA and sports. So the combo is not to be beat. And if you want to be mellow and not have pain while that's happening, of course, the Nesa's Hemp as well. So, really, really great stuff, and you can't beat it. Dr.
100%. I want to go ahead and say thank you, Colin, for another amazing episode. Thank you, everybody, in advance for all the likes, comments, and shares at MMA Power Hour. And for tonight, boys and girls, I'm tapping out and handing this one over to Colin.
Thank you, Dr. Adam Roorda, for everything you do. Really great show. You're always a consummate professional. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate you. I really love the sport of MMA. It means a lot to me. This is my passion, and it really is for our team. We've got a great team of people here, and all your support by viewing would help. Tell a friend. If you want to throw in a tip for a question or a donation of any kind, that would really help as well for us to keep everything going. We're kind of out of pocket pretty much for everything, with the rare exception of a few dollars coming in here and there, so that would really help. But want to thank you all, and in order of appearance, our guests, thank you so much to our first guest, who was Max Payne Griffin. Thank you so much to our second guest, who was Kyle Daukaus, and thank you so much to our third and final guest, D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. Really appreciate you guys. Spread the love in a positive way. Be that guy, be that girl. Call people up that you haven't talked to for a while. Let them know you have their back, even if you can't be there during this pandemic. And take good care of your friends, your parents, your kids, your grandparents, even your coworkers and your neighbors. Let them know you have their back. Treat yourself good. You deserve it. Take care of your animals.